Alex, and today I'm going to show you the three buddies, as they call them: Bib, Buzzrito and Blueberry. And they're available from Thonkus kits and from Crey Emporium pre-made. They're originally 1U modules, 12 HP. So this is Bib, a multi-effects unit. This is Buzzrito in the middle, a swarm oscillator with an XY pad, which I'm going to show you in a moment, and Blueberry, which is a pentatonic sequencer. And today, although they're available as 1U, you can also mount them in this 3U front panel. And just to show how that works, the three 1U modules just bolt into the 3U panel, and they're actually electrically completely separate, so they're completely modular. You can use them independently as a sequencer, oscillator and effects unit, or you can chain them together however you like. And so today I'll be showing them to you in this 3U convenient front panel. So the first thing you do, the only module that needs calibration is Blueberry. So all you have to do is connect the leftmost inputs to the rightmost outputs on Blueberry with your case powered down. And now when we power up, Blueberry will detect that you want to calibrate, and she'll go green for a moment and then flash yellow to say that she's halfway through calibrating, and all you do then is remove the inputs and it will finish the calibration. And that's all it takes to calibrate Blueberry. So it's ready to go now. So let's patch the three buddies together. So sequencer, outputting pitch on blue and gate on yellow. So let's plug that into pitch of Buzzy and gate of Buzzy. And Buzzy is an oscillator, so the output of Buzzy, which I'll stereo output, stereo audio, I'll use these red patches maybe, and they will go into into Bib, the effects unit at the top. So we have gate and pitch feeding Buzzrito, and Buzzrito or Buzzy outputting stereo audio to Bib, and Bib coming out to your ears. Jolly good. Let's see if that works. That's it. So that's all you need to get set up. Blueberry is a pentatonic sequencer, as I've mentioned. So you have 5 performance pads which are pressure sensitive. So they by default they're on a pentatonic scale, but you can actually just hold down these 2 buttons and go into tuning mode. So we could go down by pressing these buttons. If you don't like that note, you could change it. I don't know what scale that is, but let's go with that. So press both to say we're happy. Okay. So I can play. I can change octave by short tapping the buttons. Up a fifth or up an octave. Down a fifth, down an octave. I can keep going. Up again. Stay there. Buzzy is really simple to use. Buzzy, by default, if you don't plug the gate in, will drone. Or if you plug a gate in, it will stop droning. And then this little auxiliary button here will open the gate. So that's a performance control that effectively forces the gate open. And when it's droning, you can close the gate. It's the opposite. So there's always something you can do with that. The main fun part of Buzzy is the XY pad, which allows you to change the sound. And there are 7 presets laid out on the surface. So in the middle we have the most basic sound. On the left a sort of narrow nasal thing. On the bottom a sub. And over here a sub with a sort of fifth on top. And Buzzy actually records the movement of my finger. So when I was swiping there, it will just constantly repeat. If I just want it to stop, I can just tap. Okay, so that's Buzzy. If you don't like the presets that are arranged on the on the surface, you can actually plug buzzrito into a computer via a USB-C cable, which is this white cable down here, and I should have a little web browser open, and all I have to do is click connect, and I can select buzzrito and connect. And what's interesting is if I move my finger, it will update in the browser, but I can also live update it in the browser too, and this reveals all the settings, sub-oscillator, comb, filtering, and so on, that you can then configure or reset to your likes, to your heart's content. But I like the sound down here, so let's stay on there. Okay, let's go back to the demo, and we get to bib, which is the effects unit. So to check it's bib is four effects units chained. So the first one is just a drive, so volume down or up, and it will overdrive. If you tap the spider, each module has a buddy, and generally they're sort of aux function. So if I tap in red mode, if I tap the spider, it goes kind of pink, and now we have a wave folder. Let me turn it down a little bit. I'll reset that. There's a flash at the middle point. Let me turn that down again. Okay. Oh, I should say that on Blueberry there's a nice performance gesture, which is that while holding a pad, if you tap any other pad, it will jump fifths and octaves. And then it will reset when you take your finger off. So it's really easy to get fifths, and it also allows a fifth transposition of whatever's on your pads. Okay, the next thing in bib is a delay. So the primary control, I've just noticed I haven't got knobs on bib, well, bad me. So that was the drive level. The second control is the delay send. So let's turn that up. Bit less. Okay, so that's the red mode. In the green mode, which you just tap here, this controls the delay in more detail. So we have the delay time, obviously. That's a nice delay. You also have a tap tempo here. So what's interesting is it's actually a multi-tap delay. I won't go into the details, but if I tap a rhythm, bum, 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 it's now flashing that rhythm. And if I play a single note, I get that rhythm from the multi-tap delay. But for now, let's do a simple delay. A bit fast, let's head down. Oh. I like that. Okay, and then the second one is the feedback amount, so I can make it more. Have the delay last more or less forever, or I can turn it down to decay faster. The next module on bib is a reverb. It's just simply the amount of reverb. A little bit less. This is the amount, the time. The secondary knob is the time. Much shorter or longer. And the spider in reverb mode is the amount of shimmer. A bit less, maybe half. The amount of pressure I put on the spider controls how shimmery it is. The final mode in bib is the mix node. So you have a simple mix wet dry. So if I turn it all the way dry, in the middle, or completely wet. Let's go a little bit dry. And then finally you have a volume control. So that's all there is to it, really. But there are some sort of advanced features, if you like. So, for example, I haven't shown recording on Blueberry. So the left button, if you long press, is play, and the right button is record. So it's as simple as holding record. And it's flashing to show that it's armed. It's waiting for me to play. So let's play a little melody. Now you'll notice I put an extra little note at the end there. That's because Blueberry will actually discard the last note you play to help you to do rhythmic recording. So effectively that last note just determines when the sequence ends. So if I hit play, I just long press again, switch it off. So Blueberry has 5 memories. Each of the 5 memories has a complete pattern. And you can actually, if you hold down Blueberry, you can see which pattern I have selected. So at the moment I have the top left one. If I go to the middle one, there's nothing in there at the moment. So let's record something. Okay, play that back. If I hold Blueberry, I can select the other one. Or the fast one. So it's like a clip launcher, really. And each of the 5 patterns can have its own scale, so you can tune them to different chords, for example. Or I should say that the tuning mode works while it's playing, so I can transpose while I'm playing. That brings me to the CV inputs. So Blueberry in particular has got some quite cool CV inputs. So over here I have an OCID, which I can use to demonstrate some of the features. So if I, let me see if that's long enough. Actually, before I do that, I'd like to just say that the gate output of, let me grab an attenuator here. So I have made a very ghetto attenuator, which is just a passive knob that takes a signal and attenuates it. So if I take the gate that's output from Blueberry, and plug it through this attenuator, it actually becomes a really nice performance control. So if I hit play and turn down the attenuator, you obviously hear nothing. But actually, buzzrito has a 2-pole low-pass gate. So as I turn it up, it actually changes the timbre as well. Let's change to a more sawtoothy sound. Turning up the attenuation. That's very brassy. And more muted. So actually attenuating the gate or feeding some kind of shaping, perhaps an envelope generator like Rampage from Buffaco, or any other sort of filtering through the gate is a really fun way to change the sound of buzzrito. Okay, let's leave that in the mix. Sort out my cables. What next? Okay, so the CV inputs are quite cool here. So I can transpose. So if I play a note, that's a very nice note. Let's take a pink cable from over here and plug it into a, actually let's attenuate it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a 5 volt, 10 volt peak to peak LFO value. I'm going to feed it in to here. Oh, interesting, let's speed turn it. So actually now I'm feeding an LFO into the gate of buzzrito. I don't want to do that. Let's plug instead a gate back in. So let's plug that instead into the transpose input. And because it's through an attenuator, I can control the amount of it. Basically I have vibrato now, let's turn up speed. A bit more. Now there's an extra feature actually which is pretty cool, which is that Blueberry can also act as a pentatonic quantizer, which you can perform over. So if I hold down Blueberry while plugging in the pitch, it will quantize the CV input. So let's hear that. By taking out the gate, go up, turn down the speed. So what Blueberry's doing there is taking an LFO, I'm controlling the amount with the attenuator to make it not too much, changing the speed over here at the top, and we're hearing it quantized to the notes of the scale. And I can play over the top. Turn up the amount. So that's quantized mode. Let's put the gate back in. So the next thing I can show is if I hit play. That's very nice. But what if we wanted to clock it, something like that? So I'm going to abuse this LFO and use it as a clock source. So if I plug it into the clock input, then when I hit play, it will only proceed to the next note when there's a positive trigger, but it retains the articulation of the original note and the length. So if I speed it up, so let's try recording a very spiky sound. So if I hit record, okay, let's try that. Play. And now I can clock it at different rates. Let's turn the delay down. So that's clocking. So what about scrubbing? This input here is called scrub, and basically allows me to control which note I'm playing with a voltage. So I turn the speed of the LFO right down and plug it in. It's now very slowly scrubbing through my performance. If I speed it up. So I'm basically scrubbing through the performance. But I can also clock and scrub it. So let's, I don't know, clock it with a faster signal. Bit faster. What's interesting is that if the scrub voltage is unrelated to the clock, then you're basically getting random selection of notes from your original recording. So you could use this as a way of, for example, putting in a melody and then reordering it by feeding a random voltage or an LFO or anything else. And because it's clocked, it will only sample the scrubbing each time there's a clock input. So in that way, Blueberry becomes a really powerful way of doing generative sequencing. And I can still use the octave buttons, and I can still perform. So the final input is memory, which allows you to select from the 5 memories with a voltage, and it maps the keys of an octave to the 5 memories so that the black keys of a keyboard and the adjacent white keys will map to the 5 different memories. I won't show that now. Perhaps the last thing I want to show you is chord mode on buzzrito. So for that I'm going to plug in, instead of using Blueberry as a voltage source, I'm going to use my BeatStep Pro. So let me just reach and get the cable. And I have my BeatStep Pro going into pitch, a single pitch input. But if I tap Buzzy twice, 1, 2, she should now play chords. So if I play 2 different notes, C and then G, it's now playing a 2-note chord. And if I play 2 different notes, maybe E and A, and then D and G, and then C and C, and I could do 3-note chords. So if I tap Buzzy 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And all I'm doing there is playing 3 different notes in quick succession on the BeatStep Pro. If you feed an arpeggio into Buzzy, for example, it will happily play chords from it. And that's pretty nice because from a single oscillator you can get this nice chord-like sound. Last thing I'd like to show is that if you hold Buzzy, you can actually tune. So you can bring Buzzy in line with whatever else is in your system. Well, I'm not quite sure how to finish the video, but that's the 3 buddies. I think they're incredibly powerful and versatile. You have the sequencer with scrubbing and clocking and transposing, as well as quantizing. You have a swarm oscillator with sub-oscillator, chord mode, and sawtooth generator with an XY pad for morphing sounds, and a web editor to edit those sounds, and a multi-effects unit, all in 12 HP. Thanks very much for your attention. I hope that was helpful.